On the Daily Nation, Uhuru says sorry in healing drive. Peace and unity dominate Kenyatta's address to joint parliament. Now, gentlemen, a lot was expected from this address. Just by the title itself, State of the Nation. I listened to some of the MPs saying the president did not even go into what the nation is going through right now. There was no mention of flooding anywhere, yet it is a big issue that is affecting Kenyans. And when you talk about State of the Nation, it's not just about the handshake. Probably could start there before we come to the issue of the apology. The expectation is that probably when you call it State of the Nation address, it should capture everything that we as Kenyans are going through, at least the national psyche. But did you get that feeling that the president captured all that in the address yesterday?
Of course not. But when I say like that, he'll ask me, Ukwani, did you want to think for me? So my belief is that the president should have been, obviously that kind of speech is prepared for him. He should have been given the speech, he reads and criticizes, takes it back to the others and tells them my thoughts are this. And maybe this is the confirmation that people should go the personal way of the CEO of a nation leading, as evidenced by the tweets by Donald Trump, because he tweets and he even fires and hires on Twitter, and that personalizes it. So when we read this, we see something that was just prepared for him, and he comes and gives us, and it doesn't have that touch that I would have expected from the president. But maybe before I hand over to my brother here, let me not forget that the son of Macharia lost his life in that freak accident. My condolences to the family.
Okay. Senator?
Yes.
The feeling is that generally the president missed a few things that probably Kenyans are going through right now. And when you talk about State of the Nation, surely the issues of flooding right now, because this is across the country. No mention of flooding anywhere. Was that really the State of the Nation? Because probably he just focused on the big four and the handshake.
Well, probably if you want to single out an issue like flooding, you may single it out, but then to the omission of so many other things. And for example, that is included when he speaks about you know, his quest, his standing behind the big four, his big four. If you look at those big four, part of it is really development of infrastructure, and flooding is really about a standard infrastructure that addresses all the way around, you know, all the issues that are there. So probably it is the interpretation, if you may want to go that way, that he didn't go into the nitty-gritty, but I believe it's addressed in the wider scope when he spoke very elaborately about the big four. Now I know maybe why you might feel that way, because probably the other issues, especially like you said, we'll be going to that issue about the apology and so on. There were bigger issues for that, for perception, you know, or by perception from Kenyans, and it is a good thing for that matter. It is also a rare thing. That's why maybe it must have seemed to overshadow some of the other critical issues. But if you go through that, the address itself, I think most of the key things are fairly addressed in it. Yeah.
Of course, he talked about a lot of things, including corruption, improved allocation of monies to counties, restructuring the judiciary, growth in the economy, of course, the big four agenda, his priority being health, housing, manufacturing. Let's now talk about this issue of the public apology, this forgiveness. Please forgive me.
Yes.
That is one thing that probably not many expected. It has struck a conciliatory tone, probably setting the country on a different path from what we've been experiencing in the recent past. But did you feel that it really hit home, that apology, that despite him missing out on one or two things in his address, that apology actually is something that really worked?
The apology would have sat very well if the president had not just used the occasion to scratch the surface. The truth is, if he really wanted to apologize, he should have specified to Kenyans the various issues for which he was requesting to be forgiven. For example, he should have told Kenyans, I would like to be forgiven for bungling, my government bungled the 2017 general election. My government killed 34 youth.
This is an example you're talking about.
Yes, yes. And he should
not direct accusations.
Yeah, he should have used that opportunity. Yeah, I am sorry. I would like to be forgiven. My government did not secure Chris Msando, and Msando was killed. That my government deported a son of Nyando called Miguna and has thrown him into Canada. He should have apologized. That his government tear-gassed people who are allowed to do picketing by the Constitution. He should have apologized for the arrests of leaders, including Senator Muthama and myself, who were arraigned in court. He should, while apologizing, have apologizing for personally paying out 2.4 billion Kenya shillings to the ghosts of Anglo-Leasing. The president should have apologized for having let go scot-free the perpetrators of the NYS scandal and the Eurobond scandals. He should have been specific. So there was no apology.
So you feel that the apology was simply cosmetic?
It was drama. There was no apology. And Kenyans should not accept it. If we must accept it, he should specify.
You've not accepted the apology?
No, I have not.
Have you accepted the apology, Senator?
You know, the way Bonny Khalwale sounds, he sounds like he may even have wanted the president to apologize, you know, for him waking up late in the morning, or maybe not having the food he wants to have on the table. But anyway, on a serious note, you know, if you look at both newspapers today, that is the headlines. The headlines. That tells you that it's a big thing. And I want to remind Kenyans this morning that this is not the first time that the president has personally taken the opportunity and stood on high ground and offered an apology himself, a personal apology. And if you look at the words he used, the words he chose to use, he said, for any perceived, conceived, or any words that you may think I might have said that offended you, any deeds that I may or might have, done that didn't sit well with any Kenyan. That's what he was apologizing for. So all those things that Senator Khalwale is counting are all included in anything that he perceived was not right. That's why he chose those words very carefully and said anything that you see or think. So Bonny Khalwale, anything, but he did not say that he did. He said him or his government has done. And you know, I'll tell you the two things that I believe lie behind that power. Is one, that you can see that it is a genuine, it is a sincere apology coming from him, from himself, prompted actually as a second time the way he did it the first time. And two, if you look at normal posturing for a president who's got the power, he's got all the instruments of it, he's not obligated at all. He's not obliged to apologize. He can as well go ahead and live his life and do his things and say, let the police answer their questions. They have, the Constitution allows anyone to answer individually to questions, and he'll proceed with his life. But it is in tune with the mood that he wants to set for the country. Let's assume this conciliatory mood. We have 4 years to go before we can talk about another elections. We have to realize that we are all a people, one united under one nation, under one flag, and we have to speak the same language.
Okay. Yeah. You sound dismissive, but really, if what you're saying is true, he would have followed it up by saying, having apologized for the killing of the 34 youth, my government is going to compensate the families. My government is going to compensate Msando's family. My government is going to allow Miguna to come back. My government, for this reason, is going to pursue the perpetrators of the NYS scandal, the Eurobond scandal, and so on. This is just
is it that you feel that the apology is of no consequence?
It's nothing. Anybody can say it, even in their sleep. For all we care, he might have been sleep talking.
Senator, but surely such an apology, even as captured by the headlines this morning, means it goes beyond the headlines. It goes beyond that just feeling, or that nice feeling of yesterday when the president said it. This definitely has to have some consequence.
The consequence is that the mood of the country is set, and that as a people, antagonism will not take us in. I mean, you know, continuing to hang on the negatives, and you know, if you would look at apologizing, especially by public leaders at that level, then you would be telling Bonny Khalwale and all his 5 principals then at that time to take cue and apologize endlessly. I mean, if he was to write a list, as he says, then they would have to start writing now and finish next month.
Would have a longer list
of all the things they may want to have to apologize for. But you know, suffice it to say that for all the sins that you committed, it has been apologized for on your behalf. So now the nation can move forward. Bonny Khalwale.
you know, when you, in a very cheeky way, you say that me and my 5 principles. May I remind you that we only have 3 principles as NASA. You stole the other one. He's your man.
Well,
really? I mean, I did not expect that one.